Richmond Elementary is in our community. I have a soft spot in my heart for that little school. My dad graduated from Old Richmond back in the day, and then I went there through the 8th grade. Both of my kids went to Old Richmond. But more than that, we had a heart for sharing the Moravian experience with a public school in this case. And I had heard rumblings that it had been successfully done in other places. And I knew that Rural Hall had done it. I knew that New Philadelphia had done it in both cases, and others. But in both cases, kids were able to walk to the church. And that was not the case with us. If you've ever been to Mizpah, and I encourage you to come, it is a beautiful sanctuary, and especially at Christmas. So we hoped against hope that we would be bringing kids into that gorgeous sanctuary, but that did not happen. They didn't feel like they could pay for a bus and a driver and all those things that come with that. And so we went lock, stock, and Lovefeast funds to them. And it worked, folks. We went to their old gym, which is basically a big wooden box. I mean, there's not much to glorify it. I mean, it's bare bones. But they still have their basketball goal, and so we hung a Moravian star from it, and it worked. And I can tell you that when Fran and I were talking about this, still basking in the glow of, wow, wasn't that wonderful, and still maybe a little crazy after all the work that was involved, we said, wouldn't it be great if we could take this on the road and just give other folks a roadmap as to how to do it? And then Beth called. Thank you, or bless you. And so if you want to talk a little bit about the program and the light and those kinds of things.
Sure. So, as Judy shared, we really had hoped that the children would be able to come to Mizpah. However, in hindsight, taking it out is exactly as it should have happened. It, I think, opened our perspectives and really sort of helped us to see this as ministry, not simply providing a field trip or an experience for the kids. We took this show on the road, as Judy said, or took it out to the community of Old Richmond Elementary. This whole event was a process of prayer and making contacts that actually started before I even arrived at Mizpah. That had been in process for months before I got there. We proceeded to make contact with the principal at Old Richmond, who we also had a relationship with through other ways that we are connected with at elementary school, which we probably don't have time to go into today. But so we had a little bit of an in there and assured him that we wanted to make this an experience that would enrich the 4th graders and what they were already studying and building upon in their social studies curriculum, which is North Carolina history. So what better way to segue into that? We found when we arrived, as all 85 children were running into the gym and taking their places around the tables, we had, 10 tables? 10 long folding tables that had been set up in various places with 8 plus or minus chairs around each table. As they're all filing in and taking their places, and we're smiling but inside thinking, oh my goodness, what have we got ourselves into? They sat down and after we all introduced ourselves to them, we started with a bit of Moravian history. How did the Moravians arrive in North Carolina, especially in the area we are in? Found out very quickly that they knew as much or more than we did, so we did not have to linger too terribly long in that part of our study, but that was the introduction. From there, we had divided ourselves into centers so that the children could be up and moving and experiencing different things. We had puts making, we had a candle making demonstration, stringing the molds. That was someone from Macedonia Moravian, Susan Parker, who heard about what we were doing through a chance meeting with Judy and jumped on board. She was so excited, and we were thrilled to have her, and we've already signed her up for next year.
And maybe her husband.
And maybe her husband too. So yes, we had various centers, as I said. The children moved around from place to place, which worked wonderfully. The teachers were so cooperative and helpful in sort of herding kids and helping us keep them focused. We had, 10 volunteers that went, so the adult to child ratio was wonderful. We also, with our star hanging up and we wrapped candles with them. We also had them making star ornaments. We looked at initially doing the small white folded paper stars, and Judy called me and said, okay, I just looked at that YouTube and my head's going to explode. I was like, I'm right there with you. So we switched to a much simpler star craft, which we will share with you all. Again, though, the focus being on light. We could not go in and...
Everybody's going to get one, by the way.
You're going to get your very own to make. We, of course, being public school, could not go in and make this. We had to take Jesus into the school without using the words. That's what we did. So we talked about light and being a light in our community and a light in the world and light in the school and light in our homes, and that came up throughout our time with them, with the ornaments, with the star hanging, with the candle wrapping, through our singing. I'm going to turn it over to you. I have been rattling on. If you would pick up with our closing song, that would just be amazing.
I will. But I would be remiss in not giving credit to the New Philadelphia folks.
Yes.
Sandra Chitty, you may know, is an educator, and she did the heavy lifting back in the day when they first started by writing a lesson plan, vetting it through the Moravian Church, and then vetting it through the downtown office of the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools. And then Clyde Manning, who I talked to, and we were concerned about, as Fran said, not speaking of the name of Jesus, and how do you even do that? And Clyde said that God spoke to her. Y'all, I'll just tell you, I'm a crier, so if something hits my little heart, you haven't hurt my feelings, nothing's wrong, I'm just tearing up. So, but Clyde said that God spoke to her very clearly and said, do not think that just because you cannot speak my name, that I'm not showing up. Mm-hmm. And we felt that. We felt that so much. So, as Fran said, we went through the process of the putz making. I will tell you that it looked like an explosion of sand and glitter, and we did not bring sand for y'all today, I'm just telling you. But we're going to invite you to help put up a couple of putzes if you would like. And everybody, as I said, is going to get a star. So we did the putz, the stars, the candles, and each child went home with, I'm just all about these little mugs. We found out about them from Beth because they did them with the Children's Love Feast. And the good news is they say Children's Love Feast Mizpah Moravian Church, which we vetted through the principal, and they allowed it. So each child went home with a mug. Kind of think that's free advertising, y'all. So then we finished up with this little light of mine. I will tell you that when we were doing the Love Feast, we had a CD playing. We were concerned because when we were talking about trying to emulate what New Philadelphia had done, we're one of the smallest churches, they one of the largest. How do we even wrap our heads around that? But we made it work. So they had a band, us not so much. We had a CD, but it worked. No lyrics, please, but we did. And I guess we need to wrap it up, but I will just say this. Prayer, prayer, prayer. Bathe your efforts in prayer. Lots of volunteers. I made a list of logistical issues, some of them small, some of them larger. Do we paint the Putz houses before, or are we going to let those kids paint those houses? No.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm going to jump in for 1 second.
Go for it.
Being a former elementary school teacher, I was all about letting the kids paint the houses. I was like, no, we've got to let them paint. And Judy, wisely, and others were kind of going, I don't know. They were completely right. Well, it would have been disastrous simply because, and I will turn it back over to you, okay, I'll keep talking. The detail on the houses, as you can see, it would have been disastrous. My sisters and brothers were very wise in their choice on that. So
then how many Putz mounting boards? You got one big one and 80 kids, and so we did 4 mounting boards. Next year we're probably going to do more. Can they wrap their own candles? Yes, they can. Are they going to get those little tacks in? Yes, they did. Love Feast buns or cookies. I mean, all the things that we kind of processed. But again, we have handouts. So you're going to get New Philadelphia's letter to the school system. You'll get Sandra's lesson plan. You'll also get our schedule. We had 2 hours. So our schedule, and then what I'll call learnings. This is what we did. This is what we learned. Last year we did this. Worked great. Not so much on this other thing. So everybody's going to get one of those. And Beth, I'll let you guide us. Is there anything else?
We've got.
I was going to say just about the Love Feast itself. We did that at the very end. At the very end, we were concerned with having 2 hours if we were going to have enough to share with them. It worked out to the second. I mean, it did. But the Love Feast itself, we sort of grounded that in the first Love Feast being a time that really was sort of rooted in conflict, and people weren't getting along with each other, and they were really working together to figure out how they could live more in community. And gosh, does that sound familiar to you guys? Do we see? Well, they had all kinds of feedback on that. So there was a lot of back and forth and dialogue. 85 children, after an entire morning of history lessons and moving around from station to station, waited patiently until every single person in that gym was served. Wow. 85 children plus adults.
And let me just say that you too can go into be sure you go through your school system and the principal, because I think that's really key. But this, to me, was a great model, and I'm already on board for helping them next year because
Everybody
I think it's a huge thing.